One of the secrets to success is let excitement lead the way.
Mm.
You were asking me about passion earlier and do what you love and all of that. I think other ways of saying it is follow your heart, follow the juice, follow the electricity, follow the passion, follow the gusto, follow the enthusiasm. All of this is talking about an emotional fire that will melt the fears when you pursue it. Dale Carnegie, who helped a lot of people overcome the fear of speaking, and he wrote the famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The one book I think everybody on earth should read because I think it would just bring peace to the planet when people start reading that book and understanding that we're all concerned about ourselves. And when you get on stage and you speak about your love for something, and you do it with excitement, you do it with enthusiasm, you do it with passion, it's contagious. People feel it. They respond to it. And if you are a photographer, you are an artist, or you are doing something and you're truly passionate about it, they'll feel it and they'll want more of it. It's actually one of my secrets to success is that I get involved in something, whether it's movies, music, books, whatever. And I'm like a little kid and I'm like saying, have you seen my latest book? Zero Limits Living. I talk about these three pillars and I was hit by lightning, so to speak, and I was inspired. And I went and wrote the book. This story is coming from enthusiasm and it's authentic. I'm not making any of this up. And this is what I'm encouraging people to do, following your own example, that following your passion melts away a lot of the insecurities when you just stand up there and deliver from your heart. Do what you love and the money will follow is only true if you have beliefs that accept money.
Mm.
Most of us do not. Most of us think money's bad. We think it's evil. We think it corrupts. We think it's not good for us. We think it'll taint us in some way, shape, or form. So we may do what we love, but the money's not going to follow because we won't allow it.
Mm.
This is really important to understand. I've written lots of books about money. Money Loves Speed, Attract Money Now, The Awakened Millionaire, and probably some others I don't remember. And the whole point is you have to be in alignment with your internal beliefs before you can allow money to come in. Because if you have negative or limiting beliefs around money, or you have negative or limiting beliefs around you receiving good in your life, then you will unconsciously block it. You can go and do what you love, and I encourage people, do what you love. But if you've not cleaned up the beliefs around money, then you will not have money follow. Or if it does somehow get to you, you'll get rid of it. You'll find some way to get it out of your life quick, and you won't know you're doing it unconsciously or because of unconscious beliefs. So do what you love, and the money will follow is true as long as you are okay with money, and they won't know it. They won't know it until there's a moment like they maybe with this interview. Maybe somebody will watch it and it'll click that, oh, I better look at my unconscious beliefs. But for most people, they'll say, oh, I pursued painting, or I tried to be an author, or I opened my own business and nothing worked out. And they'll blame it on the economy, or they'll blame it on other people, or they'll blame it on something that happened in the world, or they'll blame it on their parents. And they'll say, my parents did this to me. They won't know that they are directly responsible for what's going on, but the direct responsibility is subconscious and unconscious. It's not on the conscious level. Well, they're only learning on the conscious level, and they're only working on the conscious level. And the conscious is the weakest element in creating. You have to go deeper. You have to go into what I call the subconscious / unconscious mind. I use both terms interchangeably, but it's lower than the conscious. Consciously, you can sit there and say, I read all the books. I read Dr. Joe Vitale's books. I saw the movie 30 times. I know all about intentions and affirmations and vision boards. Great. That's only on the conscious mind. What are you thinking and believing subconsciously? And if anybody is struggling right now with money, with health, or relationships, with some sort of, especially a reoccurring issue, then it is a sign that there is a belief, one or more, in the subconscious mind that needs to be uprooted. That belief is what's causing the results that they're getting in their life. It's not what you're thinking consciously. It is what you are believing subconsciously. that is creating the reality. So you can go to the library and sit there all day and read all the books about the law of attraction. You can even become an expert on the law of attraction and become a coach about the law of attraction and talk about the law of attraction and teach the law of attraction and be broke if you don't take care of the subconscious. Well, that is the million-dollar question, is how do you find the blind spots in your own mind? And the number one way for me is you get a coach. You get somebody trained to help you see and hear your limiting beliefs, because usually you won't see or hear them. They are reality to you. You're living out of your limiting beliefs, and you think this is the way the world is. It's not. It's your version of the world. It's your version of reality, and you're experiencing it through your limiting beliefs. So somebody outside of your limiting beliefs, who's outside of your reality, can help you see your perceived reality. And that's why I started Miracles Coaching 20 years ago, to help people with this very issue. So the very first way to do it is with a Miracles coach, in my particular case, but some sort of coach to help shine a light on your invisible beliefs. The second thing, if you want to do the work, is you have to really be ruthlessly honest with yourself about what you are living and what you might be believing. One of my favorite questions, and it makes people stop and pause when they hear it, is I'll say, the meaning you give an event is the belief that created the event. I'll say it again. The meaning you give an event is the belief that created the event. So if I'm working with somebody, mentoring, coaching one-on-one, I would say, what's the meaning you're giving what's going on in your life? If somebody came to you or I and they said, oh, I'm struggling with my art business, or whatever business they happen to be in, or their relationship, they're looking for the soulmate and they can't seem to find one, I would say, what's that mean? What's it mean to you that you can't get this to work? And they're going to come up with something like, with the relationship, all the good ones are taken. That's a common phrase. All the good ones are taken. It's a limiting belief. It's not true. It's not a fact. It's something that people need to be looking at and questioning with ruthless honesty. With 8 billion people on the planet, is it even remotely possible that all the good ones are taken? So by looking at what's the meaning you're giving an event, you can hear yourself say something that'll sound like fact to you. But when you explore it, especially with a coach, you find out, wait a minute, that's not true at all. It's a belief. And then the next question is, do you want to continue believing it, or do you want to let it go? What would be better to believe? So as you can see, there's a whole process here to help people break free. But you have to go into the workshop of the mind, into the database, into where the software is programmed, and that is in the subconscious. You can do it on your own. It's just a very long process. That was the problem with me. I was homeless for a long time. I was in poverty for 10 years. And I'm a guy who reads all the books. In fact, when I was homeless, I was in Dallas, Texas, living in the Dallas Public Library. I was reading the books. It was heaven because I'm reading all the books. It was hell because I had no food, no money, no car, no relationship, no place to go, no house, no apartment, no nothing. So I was reading those books and trying to apply them. And I did. You have to learn about applied wisdom. You have to learn how to apply this in your life. And most of the time, it's a struggle and it's a lengthy process if you do it on your own. But you can do it. Anybody alive today has a lucky break. There's all kind of information. There's all kind of tools. There's all kind of bells and whistles. The joke is there's an app for that. There's an app for just about anything you're going through, or a podcast for it, or a YouTube video for it, or a book for it, or a mentor for it. And you can find everything you need with a click of a button. It is incredibly easier and faster to have breakthroughs today. So it is good news and a good time for people to be alive. You can break free far easier than at any other time in history, even. I have faith. I have faith at first that everything I was learning about the law of attraction, about self-improvement, about success. I had faith that these authors that were teaching me, the books that I was reading in the public library, had been there, done that, and they were conveying the knowledge to me. So I had faith in the beginning in them more than in me. As I applied what they were doing and I started to see results, and again, it was very slow, but I started to see results, then I started to get faith in me. As I kept using their principles, added my own principles, started to get that feedback that this is actually working. Here I'm getting published. Here I'm getting a job. Here I'm getting out of debt. Here I'm getting out of homelessness. Here I'm getting out of poverty. Here I'm getting into a relationship. You do that enough, and then your faith becomes superhuman. Your faith becomes almost supernatural when you get an idea, in my case, at the age of 60, 12 years ago or so, and I just decided I wanted to be a musician. I had no music experience, didn't sing in the shower, didn't know how to write a song, only knew a couple chords on a guitar. And here I am going, I want to be a musician. I want to record music. I want to record my first album. Because of a history of proving that this works, I had faith that I could do it. Now, I still had doubts, but I also knew you can doubt your doubts. I had learned that along the way. Doubt your doubts, and then you can move forward to proceed to create whatever it is you want. I tell people, I'll put it this way. I have a program, a little book called The 3-Day Rule. And in the 3-Day Rule, I say what you're thinking and what you're feeling right now will generally get attracted to you in 3 days. Why doesn't that happen? Why doesn't it happen? Because most people change their thinking and change their feeling 50,000 times a day. So you may start out going, okay, what I want to do is focus on attracting money, or I want to focus on thinking rich, and immediately right after doing it for a minute, they start doubting for the rest of the day. Well, they're not going to attract the money or anything they said if they are doubting more time than they are believing. So all of it comes back to faith for me. And you prove faith to yourself by acting first in a fake it till you make it way. And then as you find it does work, you reinforce it, and it makes it easier to keep growing and keep stretching and keep succeeding.
So it's almost like a success cycle, right? Or you build confidence with having small successes.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you talked about me going into martial arts and mixed martial arts training at the age of 71. I've only had a handful of classes so far. And so I am a newbie. I don't have all the endurance. I don't have the breath work. I don't have the muscle. I don't have the skills. They will come in time. And I know that. Whenever you learn anything for the first time, whether it's the basics of the law of attraction, or you're learning karate, or you're learning music, or you're learning art, you're clumsy. You don't know what you're doing. You don't even know what you don't know in the beginning. But I know that I don't know. I know that I'm being trained. I know that I will learn. And why do I know it? Because I've done it enough times in my life to prove that this is the way the cycle works. I'm one day at a time, it's all fine. One day at a time, you keep growing. One day at a time, you keep learning. And you keep doing this one day at a time. And then one day, you turn around and go, oh, I'm a black belt in karate. Or, oh, I'm getting thousands of dollars for my painting. Or, oh, my business is open and blooming. Or in my case, I turn around and look and go, I wrote 90 books. I wrote 90 books. At the age of 71, I wrote 90 books. My first book was 1984. And if anybody had told me there'd even be a second book, I wouldn't have believed, let alone 90 more. In 1984, all I knew was, well, I got a book published, finally. What's next? You just keep writing, you just keep getting up, you just keep going to class, you just keep working. One day at a time, you keep growing, you keep stretching, you keep learning. And then at some point, you turn around and go, oh, look what I accomplished.